Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a reality that honestly sounds exactly like a sci-fi movie, but is actually unfolding right this very second. We're going to dive deep into the chilling warnings of Daniel Kokotajlo. He's a former OpenAI insider who walked away from a massive tech empire specifically to sound the alarm on the highly secretive, insanely rapid race toward artificial superintelligence. $2 million. That's the amount of equity that Daniel, an AI forecaster, literally risked losing. And why? Because when he resigned, he flat out refused to sign a strict non-disparagement agreement. I mean, think about it. Most people wouldn't walk away from a free lunch, let alone a life-changing sum of money, just to publicly warn us about the path our tech is taking. It really sets the stakes for the reality we're about to discuss. So what's actually happening behind closed doors? Well, it's pretty stark. The open secret, Daniel points out, is that top tech CEOs are aggressively racing each other for total control of the future. And sure, they publicly downplay the existential risks of their own creations, but privately, Daniel argues it's actually the fear that one rival CEO might become a global dictator that's actively driving this whole arms race. Let's move right into Section 1, the race to superintelligence. It's absolutely crucial we get our definitions straight here, because we aren't just talking about basic artificial general intelligence or, a slightly smarter chatbot. Superintelligence is a system that vastly outperforms human experts across every conceivable cognitive task, and, crucially, physical tasks too, through robotics. We're talking about something that is better, faster, and cheaper at absolutely everything. Think about standard software for a second. It's just lines of code programmed by engineers. It's got predictable, readable, auditable logic. But modern AI? It relies on neural networks. These things start out as an artificial brain of up to 10 trillion random connections, which frankly is harder to untangle than the cables behind your TV, and they are pruned through reinforcement learning. They aren't traditional software at all. They're massive digital brains that even their own creators cannot fully decipher or predictably control. Okay, so how does this race actually play out? It follows a terrifyingly logical sequence. Step 1 is happening right now. Train the AI to autonomously write code. Step 2, use that new coding ability to completely automate the human AI research process. And step 3, well, that's the tipping point, an intelligence explosion, otherwise known as recursive self-improvement. Once AI can autonomously conduct its own research, it's going to rapidly and continuously upgrade its own intelligence without a single drop of human intervention. Grounding this in Daniel's data-driven forecasts, the timeline to this runaway intelligence explosion is dramatically compressed. Industry insiders quietly expect autonomous AI agents to be in widespread use by around 2025. Then, by 2027, the forecast expects AI to fully automate the human research process. And by 2029, Daniel gives a 50% probability of reaching full superintelligence. That is literally before the end of this decade. All right, on to Section 2, the existential AI threat. So, what happens if this corporate race goes unchecked? Daniel identifies 3 massive core threats. First, complete job displacement across all sectors. Second, a massive concentration of political and economic power. And third, the ultimate loss of control, leading to actual human extinction risks. He emphasizes a really frightening reality here. Total job automation, that's just a secondary side effect. The primary driver is tech companies pushing for absolute global power. And here is where it gets really chilling. Looking at Daniel's forecasts, he estimates a whopping 70% chance that our current default trajectory results in a catastrophe. We're talking about a scenario where a new super intelligent AI species just takes over, leaving humanity effectively defenseless. That's compared to only a 30% chance of a survival or utopian outcome. Tech CEOs love to paint a rosy picture, warmly describing this future setup as a country of geniuses. But Daniel warns it's actually an army of geniuses, and his position is crystal clear. This army will be controlled by a tiny oligarchy of Silicon Valley leaders. He argues that absolutely no one should ever be trusted with unprecedented global power on that kind of scale. Let's look at a way out in Section 3. Plan A, a safer path. Thankfully, it's not all doom and gloom. Daniel's team mapped out an alternative. The default path, what they call Plan D, is this fast, secretive race we're on right now, leading to total automation by 2030 with completely unmanageable extinction risks. Plan A, on the other hand, relies on deliberate government regulation to force a slowdown by 2029. It demands total research transparency, and it intentionally delays the arrival of superintelligence to 2040. Why? Just to ensure our safety protocols actually have time to catch up to the tech. Under this Plan A, the timeline shifts completely. By enforcing a mandatory pause on new AI training in 2029, we transition to building transparent data centers in 2030. By 2033, a universal citizen's dividend kicks in. We achieve top expert-level AI safely by 2035, and only in 2040 do we finally pass the torch to a fully aligned superintelligence. It basically gives humanity the breathing room we desperately need to build a society where machines serve us instead of replacing us. A massive cornerstone of surviving this shift under Plan A is that citizen's dividend. It would start at $25,000 per person and scale up to millions over time. This ensures that as AI inevitably takes over cognitive and physical labor, everyday humans retain their financial survival and, most importantly, their political power in society. To actually pull this off, we're talking about some serious policy shifts. First, open science. That means total research transparency published globally, effectively ending corporate monopolies. Then, retooling. That means retrofitting these massive data centers to only run existing models rather than training dangerous new ones. And finally, verification, which requires international data center inspectors to ensure global compliance. It's all designed to democratize AI and stop a handful of leaders from becoming unregulated global powers. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway for this explainer, a pretty haunting question raised in the source material. If there were 100 buttons on a table and 10 of them ended the world, would we just keep pressing them? As this AI race accelerates with literally astronomical stakes, will humanity keep blindly pressing buttons in the dark, or will we finally demand the transparency and regulation we need to survive? Thank you for joining this explainer today. I hope it gives you plenty to think about.